Good morning folks, Ken Ring of www.predictweather.com. I just thought we'd have a bit of fun with our model this morning, see what's exactly happening between the Earth, the Sun and the Moon. And our day, I'm talking southern hemisphere viewer, and he's facing you at the moment, which is east. This pole here going up is going up towards the south because we're in the southern hemisphere. So for the southern hemisphere viewer, here comes the Sun rising in the east just as the Moon is the highest point overhead. So when the Sun comes up in the morning, the Moon is high in the sky already at the moment. And when the Sun comes up and rises in the sky, the Moon goes down. And when the Sun starts to set, the Moon is actually, as you can see it coming down underneath my arm here, the Moon is going below the horizon, just as the Sun starts to set in the west. And the Moon is not far below the horizon. So that means that as the Sun starts to go down, the air tide, controlled by the Moon, doesn't go out all that much, which means that things stay fairly warm as the darkness approaches, because the Moon is not too far down below the horizon and doesn't let too much of the night's colder air come. So here it is coming up to the next day, and you can see it comes right overhead again. So that is why at this time of the year, with respect to the Moon and the constellation that it's in, we get quite a bit of cloud around because there's still a fair bit of warmth in the situation with the Moon not going too far below the horizon. If we turn this over and look at it, that's even though the Moon is coming up from the south and causing southerlies. So the southerlies are going to affect mostly the areas down by the poles, which are the South Island, rather than the North Island. So here we have the northern hemisphere viewer, and we'll turn him around so that he's facing you. And let's see what's happening from a northern hemisphere point of view. So northern hemisphere man is facing the east, and here comes the Sun. Where you can see it. Here comes the Sun, and as it goes up, the Moon, which is just out of sight at the moment, there it is there, the Moon goes down on the northern hemisphere sky. Now the northern hemisphere Sun doesn't rise too much because it's still springtime, but the northern hemisphere's Moon goes right down below the horizon. See, there it is there, because we're looking at it from the other hemisphere, and it goes way down, which means it's letting in a lot of cold night air, and that cold night air is going to bring frosts, still going to bring frosts, and it's going to bring some colder temperatures which may bring rain until it comes round again into the sky, and there it is there, not too high in the sky. There's the Sun coming up, and it's also not too high in the sky. So both of them are not too high in the sky in the daytime, and that's the difference between the northern hemisphere Moon in Capricorn and the southern hemisphere Moon in Capricorn. And it's all basically because the Earth is on a tilt, there it is there, compared to the rest of the things in the sky, and that's why things go from one side of the sky to the other in the course of the month, and why they used to call planets planets, because planet means something that wanders. It's a little bit confusing, but if you break it down to its elements, you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of the warmth and the cold that the Moon brings to the situation as it changes its position around the zodiac. This is called the zodiac, the divisions of the sky that are divided into 12 that the Moon passes through as it goes around each month. We'll go over this a little bit more in later blogs, and I'll also put a bit of a written thing up about this so that you can read what's actually happening as well. Thanks for watching.